Hey there, folks. So I'm going to show you how we are going to install the DFS and also having file replication. So the main purpose of the DFS is to give us a single path so that we can access it in order to have replication. So think about, let's take this kind of paint, for example. Then we have this folder and also that folder. So this is folder 2, this is folder 1, and every time that a file is written to folder 1, it also syncs to folder 2. And instead of just approaching folder 1 with its path, we have a path that includes both of the folders so that the user does not see on which file the folder exists. It only sees the shared folder that is the result of those two. So let's take this, call that number 3. So if a file is written here, then it's also written here and we can see it here. So I'm going to show you how it is done practically very easily. So just understand that for now, if we have this folder and a file is also written to here, it appears here and also on the DFS path. So let's go. First of all, we are going to the manage. We are adding walls and features, and we have this server, which is a file server, and I'm going to install the roles. So I'm installing the file server wall, is also the DFS namespace and the DFS replication, so that we have a namespace which is the path that is being accessed in order to get to the files, and also the replication in order for us to have replication. So I'm doing this, next, and we check this checkbox and install. And the same for another server. So let's open up file server 2. This is the name of the machine. I'm going to log in to the server. And let's do the same thing here. Now, until this installation is finished, let's move back to file server 1 and let's see what's going on. So it is already been finished. So now once it has been finished, we open up the folders and let's call this folder OD, which stands for organizational drive. And once we did this, we open up the properties, sharing, advanced sharing, share this folder. And for the purpose of this lab, I'm just going to take the full control and just mark those checkboxes. In reality, we don't do so. This is just for the purpose of the lab and so that the folder will be shared. Okay, apply, okay, close. And let's have a folder here. Let's call it, give it text name. So text1. And once we have finished this, we are doing actually almost the same thing on file server 2. So we are waiting for the file server 2 installation to finish. And so once it finishes, then we can also proceed. So it takes a little bit more of time, so I'm just going to share it right now. It is not mandatory to wait for the installation to finish. This is just for the order of the things for better understanding. So folders, the rep, which means replication, and I'm going to do the same thing. Properties, sharing, advanced sharing, share this folder, permissions, full control, And that's it. And we are not going to create a file because the purpose of this exercise is to wait for the replication process to be completed so that you will see text1 here automatically without me doing any kind of a manual action. So we are waiting for the feature installation to finish and then we can proceed. So we are back. The installation of file server 2 has been ended, so we can move on to our next phase. So I'm going to the tools, and from here we get to the DFS management, and we create a namespace, which is the path that the users will type in order to get to the files, to the folders we just created earlier via network. So they do not access directly to the folders, but to a folder that represents them. So namespace, and I'm going to give the domain controller 1, which will host the namespace. So let's get back to operating for a short explanation. The namespace leads us to folder 3, which represents both of the folders that are locally stored on each file server. In order for us to see and get results, we have to share both of these so that we can access them. We can have a network access. If they are not shared on the network, then folder 3 will not get any results and we will not see the files that were created on folder 1, also created here and here. So this is regarding to that. Let's call this DFS for distributed file system and success. Let's create a new folder. So this folder will be, this is the folder which will actually be accessed. So let's call it NF, which is new folder. So this folder, which is NF, which stands for new folder, takes its data from the folders that we previously shared that are on FS1 and FS2. So I'm opening this up and we get this message in order to have a replication group so that the folder or the replication folder will also get the txt file and not just the namespace and the original folder itself. So I'm creating and touching the yes button. So this is the replication group's name. This is the replicated folder name. We just click next. We make sure that FS1 is the primary member which the rest of the members take the information from, or the files to be more accurate. Topology section full mesh, full, create, and that's it. We have a replication group. So as for now, we need to wait for everything to be synchronized, but in the meanwhile, we can at least access the DFS path. So badoor.local DFS, then we have NF, and we see text1. So we do not have to directly access to the drive here or also here. We can do this via this path, and that's okay. Instead of the users of the organizations to access the folder which is located inside file server 1. So this is to make them avoid access to the file server itself so that we can have everything shared on a different path. And as regarding to the other thing, FS2, let's find the OD rep, and it is also replicated here. So once we create a file, for example, on FS1, it will be replicated to FS2. Let's create text2. And in a couple of minutes, this will be also replicated to the NF, which is our neutral path, and also to file server 2. And we are back. Also, text2 is replicated to the NF, and also if we move back to FS2 and to the organizational drive rep, it is also replicated here. So now we have also replication and a neutral path so that the users will not access the file servers directly, but they access the namespace which hosts the files in itself. So this is it, and take care.